folks. I think you'll find that's the case. Folks, we're getting through into our first draft of the day. TT backs against the wall. We will keep referencing that because if they lose a single game, they are consigned to the Nirvana group, the lower group, in the next stage of the LPL. Get through into the draft where we get to, of course, Carix, get to update you on the meta a little bit. Welcome to the cast as well, alongside me today. The first thing I'm noticing, no AD mid laners have been banned so far. I'm expecting them to come through.
Yeah, you've got to think if Tristana doesn't hit the ban in these last two, that's got to be a first pick for TT. I just can't imagine leaving that available, particularly as the underdog. You can't play into that.
And I think also what it does is it just ends up giving you a lot of options for AP junglers. It gives stuff like, of course, you would know the Karthus being a VCS caster. We saw so much of that over the years. We finally caught up in the rest of the world. And we get to see what comes through there. The Renekton is a kind of a target ban away from Hoya, and then we do get to see what that first pick will be.
You have to think it's Tristana here. You can't afford to lose a game. Like I feel like you have to take away the Tristana, and I know that's kind of risky because EDG has to know you're going to do that, so they should have two prepared picks here.
It's the sort of, it's the next level where you know that you're picking the pick, but you also know that the enemy knows that you're picking this too. The thing is, at LPL, no one's really had a good answer to this. Cryan's likely to lock in the Corki. It means that you have an AD carry for AD carry matchup in the mid lane. That wouldn't surprise me, and it allows, you know, a bit of contest there. However, looking through at EDG, they haven't always loved going towards that AP jungle style. Folks. Now, this is going to be a big intro for you. Zyra is arguably the best jungler on the patch right now. She clears in under 3 minutes. Zyra versus Karthus is nasty.
So this is actually kind of crazy that I've come onto the cast as this has happened, as Zyra has been locked in. This is something that Yue has been telling me for probably 3 years.
Really?
Zyra is a broken jungler, and people haven't figured it out yet. I've actually, I think I'm mastery. I'm like Mastery 6, or was, before they changed the system, on Zyra, and I have never played a game of Zyra support.
Well, that should tell. Yeah, the thing is, this raises a different question as well, because we do get that Corki in for Cryan, so that completes the AP-AD jungle mid synergy between the two of them. I had a big conversation with a couple of coaches about this time last year, where one of the big problems about trying to pick up AP junglers is that no one played AD mid laners. Lucian was gone, nerfed down to, well, he changed towards bot lane. And you had like a load of mages which could bully out stuff like your Corki, which was going AP even at that point anyway, and then the Tristana. So it's like, oh, you had to learn like Yone or Akshan. Who wants to learn those champions? They're too difficult. Now it's got to the point where these champions are so hilariously strong, you have to learn how to play AD mid laners. Otherwise, you're denying your team a really strong resource. So we have both of them in. We have the AD mid laners, we have the AP junglers. Now, one of the things we've seen a lot in the meta right now, though, is bot lane falling through to very last picks, and it does mean that we're eating so many AD carry bans in the second round. What have we got left? Ashe is pretty big right now, Kai'Sa. We're getting through to the point, though, where you're really starting to get stripped of good AD carry options.
Yeah, I mean, it's tricky. Ashe is the one removed. Zeri open is like fairly easy to play with a Zyra as well. But we'll actually have to see what they decide to go towards. Nyla would be interesting. I think it will be Zeri, yeah.
Maybe later in Phyllis. Maybe later in Phyllis. The thing about Zeri, as you said, Zeri is fairly easy to play. You get towards... So Shiv is back. It's not a crit item, but it just means that Zeri can have good chain lightning and good wave clear, and it means that she can really contribute to later game team fights pretty effectively. 1xn, he's a big Aphelios player. That's still available. Could potentially go towards that. Very outranged if he wants to go towards that, though. Goes towards the Kai'Sa as well instead then, which is what we mentioned before. This one is a little easier to play, but there's not that much enabling the Kai'Sa right now. You need an engaged support like this.
Yeah, I think the Rel makes a lot of sense. They've actually got a pretty good sort of you need to come into us comp as well. It's going to be hard for EDG to get on top of TT, I think. Because you're going into a Karthus, Rel can play Bouncer really well, Kai'Sa can reposition out of the Zyra ult. I actually quite like what TT's put together here.
And, yeah, I mean, I think with Beitron going towards that AP carry jungle, maybe he can again bring up some of that carry potential, which we know he can have. It typically has been Yukon and 1xn doing the heavy lifting. You need to get through that Alistar now. I think that TT The problem I have with this comp is they have one form of engage, and that's Feather going in. You have to go into a Skarner. If you haven't been introduced to Skarner yet, Carix, get ready.
This I have. Don't you worry.
Is a doozy, and then you also have the Alistair. So if you're jumping in, if you do get headbutt out at the right time, your one engage threat is going to be really problematic. I do think that EDG, they outrange. I think they have really good scaling options with double AD carry, 4 double AD carry, and the jungle. It means that you're not going to get outstripped in the late game. I think both these teams are very competitive along that point. But with that outrange, I'm really interested to see whether TT can find that really important engage before the Zyra plants and the Corki rockets from long range start to really give you too many issues.
I think something that we really need to watch here is it's going to come down to who's first to objectives and who has vision control. Because I think both teams are able to take a position and neither of them have that incredible engage. Even with the Skarner, like, okay, Skarner's a crazy champion, don't get me wrong, but I think he still struggles a little bit to get through the wall of pain and through the rel. So I really think a large part of this just comes down to who can actually be standing on the point first.
Well, that's definitely one easy way to play out through that range advantage, but the thing is, TT, they have been a team which have struggled a little bit around that. They've sometimes walked into Hell's Mouth itself. They've just tried to engage. They're not necessarily a team that plays well around side lanes. They were going to have to learn very, very quickly. They cannot drop another game. EDG have the upper hand in regards to the stakes. And we'll get to see how the crowd feels about it as well. We'll see how lively they're feeling today.
Well, it's a good night of League, so how could they not be lively?
Getting ourselves into that 1v1, and we'll get ourselves well and truly into the action here. Level 1, walking forwards here from TT. Gonna find a couple of members standing waiting for them, though.
Yeah, so just going in, just getting some deep vision. Or, I say deep, it's not super deep, but getting some vision on where the start will be.
And by deep, I mean shallow. I feel like, look, not to bring up your heritage, but I feel like, in regards to Australian mannerisms, when it comes to like the yeah nah yeah and the nah yeah nah, I feel like there are some double meanings to the way when you mean something and it is the opposite meaning, Carix.
Look, there's something to that. Probably. Maybe that's why the LCO never did too well at Worlds. We thought losing was winning.
Opposite say, alright. So, folks, we have double AP junglers. The thing about double AP junglers is that they do slow down the game. If you don't have a Lee Sin, Xin Zhao, not exactly going to be ganking all the time. You're going to be looking to clear in as close to 3 minutes or under it as possible, combo up with the rest of the map as quickly as you can. That's exactly what both of these teams are doing. Folks, you've got Cassante Skarner top lane. You don't really want to be passing that either. I feel like we're going to be snoozing for a little bit until we get that first back, get the Faded Ashes. Typically where LPL starts to kick off a bit more is when we get 5 to 6 minutes, you have the first Dragon spawn and the first Grub spawn as well. Particularly when you have champions that can take them so quickly. So that's what I'm waiting for, at least.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not used to coming into a league that can restrain itself for more than 4 minutes. So that's kind of an exciting concept in general. But yeah, but as you said, both these junglers are just a bit, but actually Beijuan moving in, wants to aggress onto JJ. It's risky. Just both. Wink is coming over. There's no smites up. This is gonna get a little bit dicey.
Through smites just coming out for both of them, and JJ's forced off, and he's gonna lose it.
Yeah, he just loses it.
So, Beijuan gets an early invade on that Karthus, and we say, okay, both these junglers, they just want to get their clear done, just fight a little later. Because bot lane gets to roam up first, 1x and Feather add into the play, and Beijuan gets an important takeaway. JJ not going to have that extra mana, not going to have, importantly, the extra XP and the extra gold as well. So that's a mini victory here for Beijuan. And when it comes to the AP farming junglers, it is a win condition to get ahead in that role, so we will have to track if that continues.
Yeah, and that's something I sort of brought up while we were just chatting before the game started. I wanted to see TT have, a level 1. Obviously, that's not actually level 1, but it's an early, just a little bit of a gambit okay, it's not going to win you the game on the spot. Nothing's crazy like that, but it just gets you that little lead that makes you feel a bit better while you're the underdog. I think it's really important.
So, the thing about this, though, is that... So, Beitron gets that blue buff. It's not going to be too much more in here. I wait until the Ignite is dropped in TBTs in the LPL, because they sneak up on you, they do. But Beitron does lose double scuttle, and JJ's doing an important thing where, folks, this is the thing you can do in solo queue, it can be really important. If you can recall in the enemy jungle, place a ward while you're recalling, when those camps respawn, you get a pretty good idea of where the jungle is pathing to. And as we said, if we're looking at invades and jungle farming and whatever, that's kind of important to know where they are on the map.
Yeah, just a little bit. Look, again, maybe it's like a little bit less important when we're talking about a Carthus, as you can guess where he is just based on sort of timing. He's where the camps are.
I hadn't even thought about that. You've got, man, it's like, oh yes, I have my Carthus radar. What's that? I know which camps are alive. He must be there.
Yeah,
all the other ones.
I can have a pretty good guess. Wing, good engage. Looking for this Kaiser. Ignite is down, but doesn't get the follow through.
So what it does is get lane control. What we do see often in the LPL is occasionally those summoner spells put through, particularly the Ignite, just to try and get that control of lane. Already forced the barrier out of 1xN as well, so summoner for summoner, HP trade, 1xN left to collect this wave on a turret. With the dragon up, this is going to give JJ a window of opportunity to go towards that if he wants to. He definitely can, with Wink worming across the map as well. One thing which you mentioned earlier is wanting this extra vision control to come through. Now Wink can potentially go into Beitron.
Oh, lovely flash to get away from the Alistair combo there, and he is able just to get out, but Carthus, without that summoner spell, is much more vulnerable.
Leaving Wink, honestly, winning that 2v2 in bot side has opened up a lot of options for EDG. They managed to get towards the dragon, they get the flash out of the Carthus. Carthus is not safe without flash, folks. This champion needs that, or he dies very, very quickly. So now we need to see whether TT can survive through until Beitron can actually get that summoner spell back. It can be very dangerous to play without that one. We are going to get a splitting of the objectives, though. Dragon on one side, Grubs on the other. And it does mean that, as we said, it's not really about the early fighting when it comes to these junglers. It can be a little bit, but it's much more about what resources you're getting off the map. That's basically what we're seeing.
Yeah, look, I think it's a good result, honestly, with Wink playing it, but hang on, we have to look at the bot lane, as Feather has been engaged on a lot of damage coming through onto this rel. 1xN does manage to scare them away. What I mean to say, of course.
I mean, we did see.
Hang on. Action around this
I'm trying to think. Like, wait, we did see that Fiddlesticks in the We've seen one game of Fiddlesticks for fears in the LCK. We've seen that. That's about as close as we get to genuinely fearing. Yeah, you said there's a lot of action around bot, so Beitron still has no flash.
Yeah, they're moving forward anyway. Beitron taking a hell of a lot of damage, just walking in. He's going to try and use that death form. Has the Requiem, calls it down. 2 kills looking likely. There it is. 2 for the Carthus. Yukao now hopping forward onto Cryan, tagged up with the Plasma. Can he find the damage? No, not quite.
Alright, so, turns out you don't need flash on Carthus if you're planning on dying anyway. Goes into the enemy team, uses that first ult of the game to get a double kill. Beitron, this player who's been up and down for Thunder Talk Gaming, has sometimes been a carry, has got himself in a position to do so again. You were already asking, saying, look, they've got their backs against the wall, they need to have a strong early game, a 2-4 on the bot side river, and gold over to the Carthus, one of the hyper carries in the jungle right now. I think that's exactly what they would have wanted. Need to see if they can capitalize on that.
Yeah, they have to keep up this tempo though. They can't just rest on their laurels. As soon as that Carthus ult is back up, they need to go again.
And that kind of brings us through to what the question of the build. Gonna see, I think it's gonna be the Blackfire into Leandries, no Malignance, which can be really important for keeping the tempo of the game up. We said, look, Carthus no flash, he's gonna die. Yes, Carthus dies. Funnily enough, Carthus is pretty good even after he's died. They get enough damage onto Wink, and then the dive through from 1xN to follow up that to get 2 kills for the Carthus. I think that is so much better than I predicted at the start of that fight.
Yeah, Carthus dies, Carthus lives, and Carthus dies again. Or I suppose he makes you die in this case, but
it's a bit of both. It's
a good situation.
It's a bit of a trade. You know, he's a death dealer. He deals in both of these sites, and Beitron, he's going to go towards that Black 5 first. Really important thing is, again, checking, is he going to be ahead of JJ? One of the things we brought out from draft is saying EDG, they largely outrange because of the Zyra plants, and also, I mean, Corki is less about poke nowadays, but he's going for the tier, so he'll have the Muramana rockets, which do apply on that ability. So, you know, there is every chance that EDG could play towards an outrange later on, but if Beitron becomes such a big threat that you can look for the all-ins with the Cart Assault over the top of it, maybe they don't get to play around that range advantage. That's going to be the worry, I think, from EDG after this early game.
Yeah, I mean, maybe we are just going to see the I flash into your team, the old, like, boy type classic.
Oh, you have just cited the ancient magics there, friend.
UCal in a little bit of trouble, moved forward at the wrong time, and JJ is there to punish.
So, that's just trying to take control of the lane. Not realizing the jungle's there as well. Is there anyone to collect this wave? Feather, so no one really in terms of big wave clear. Okay, so it's going to be some good gold back over towards JJ. Evens up the gold in regards to that jungle matchup, and Crane gets himself a plate out of that one too. UCal has forever been such an important member of TT, the most important member in so many ways. He's had a difficult year so far after a very good 2023. The fact that he's dying in ill-opportune moments like that will not be something which TT really wants to hear, and that's a sadly missed ward right there.
It is. They do get the ping. 5 gold secured. Yeah. I mean, the Tristana falling behind is always a bit of a disaster. It needs to be exerting pressure. You used first pick on it. It's the only time you get to use it this series. You need to leverage it as a real power pick. That's going to be something to watch here for TT if they can't manage that. But TT will be getting themselves a second set of grubs. They're full power.
And that's full grubs with the Tristana. So, UCal, we were just saying, okay, one chance to use the Tristana. Completely right to bring that. To bring that point up. Yeah, I mean, you have the 6 grubs, you have a Tristana who is a monster at killing towers. If TT can get him into a side lane, that's maybe where you can get a load of gold. We did mention though before, TT have not been best friends with side lanes. So EDG, they know that they're against this Tristana, maybe they can bait UCal into one of those ill-opportune plays again.
Maybe. I think UCal, you know, he's been punished at the Tucker box once. I don't think he's necessarily going to dive in again.
Dude, I haven't heard that service so long. Tucker box. See, I remember when I was a youngin', go to the Tuck box for sweets. I remember that. I feel like that. I would say it's a Britishism, but of course it's across the. It's not, because we're completely different sides of the globe. We've got that same culture. Feather going in.
Feather goes in. JJ explodes immediately, wishing for old Zyra passive now.
And, yeah, so, neither of these junglers particularly good without that flash. JJ flash forwards before to kill UCal in mid lane, means that he ends up, yeah, going down pretty easily. TT getting themselves some gold back, and I think at this point, EDG is starting to get a bit worried. They're giving up a lot of objectives, 6 grubs, they don't get to get 2 early dragons. Beitron's very happy with how the game's going through. I mean, that last kill, they didn't even need to pull the Cart Assault either, and we said, hey, you should probably be using that as frequently as possible to accelerate the game. EDG, they didn't even have to force it that time.
Yeah, I mean, this is a really good result here from TT in the early game. They have a non-explosive gold lead, but a gold lead all the same. They have this tempo lead due to the 6 grubs, enabling them to get, you know, a couple of tower plates before they drop off. This is a really good position for TT.
UCal has teleport too, so there's every chance that you could just turn up to a play in a side lane, they get a kill, he gets to go onto a tower after that point. I think there's a power play available to TT right now, especially with so many big ultimates available and JJ's flash still being down. There's potential. He's currently going to get supported by Wink though. Crime's pushing up mid lane, so EDG not giving too many openings, but that's what I'm looking for next.
Yeah, I feel like UCal is about to press his TP, so I don't know if we're going to get the side lane happiness that we might want from that Tristana. Is he gonna walk?
Ah, damn, you're right. No, I hate it when you're right, so I was just like, oh yeah, look at this big pub. No, he's collecting a wave in mid lane. Okay, so that's the thing. Let's see. At least he's got, look, folks, he's got himself a Kraken Slayer. TT are ready to fight. EDG, where are the items at right now? You have Shiv on Zeri. Now, Shiv obviously changed away from a crit item. It's still really strong, specifically on Zeri, though, because she gets to kind of combo it up with her ultimate to get the double chain lightning across in terms of big team fights. It's also just a good item in terms of AD and attack speed. Because Zeri benefits so much from attack speed, it ends up synergizing very, very well with her. Also a level up, and that means that Onyx needs to be a little bit careful here.
Yeah, Leave doing well, though. Does manage to pick up another tower play just before those do drop. It's in a good position on this area. Presumably has a little bit of a gold lead over the Kai'Sa, but hard to tell quite how much that would be by. But we are just in this holding pattern, and I think every minute this continues is a minute that EDG is pretty happy about.
Oh, do you like that we have the individual gold overlay? Wait, did you get that in VCS? We got it just for this summer after MSI and LPL. It really helps things. It's just like, oh yeah, this player actually does have an individual gold lead. We get it well. We also have Durex.
Yeah,
well, if you enjoy that.
Something no league player will ever need.
Right, got ourselves this grouping around top side now because Herald is up. We did talk about the power of the 6 grubs and the Tristana. EDG are trying to stop TT getting any access to towers if it's all possible. The EDG, they force out TT away from the river. They really want to take this Herald. And this is where we get to talk about objective setup and these range advantages. We talked about that the entirety of the game so far. EDG have the range advantage. TT need to find and engage somehow. Hardwell Feather has no flash.
It is, but does manage to land a stun onto Leave. Doesn't get anything from it. Benchwan just throwing out those Skittles, but in the meantime, looks like Cryan might have been starting up the Herald, or maybe clearing a ward, I couldn't quite tell, but has backed off and will show himself top momentarily.
Still waiting on that flash for Feather. I think that's why things have slowed down a bit from TT. Feather, very young support, by the way. Last year, he was the youngest support within the LPL, I believe. I think he was. I'm not sure now, because we've got a couple of more rookie players coming into the support role in the LPL, but still. He dropped in and out of the LPL on Rare Atom last year. He's back now on TT. He's very important to this game. If he can get that big flash, which he currently doesn't have, could be changing everything.
A good engage there by Wink with that knockup. Flashing away now, but then look at the damage going in. Hoya just gets deleted. Slowly kill over the wall, zoning the rest of TT off, and it's a Rift Herald secured for EDG.
And the fire happens just before Feather gets his flash. He gets it just as they retreat from it, and they can't find the play midway through that fight. EDG, they deny TT from using their 6 grubs to get a load of plates. They deny them from getting his side lane towers, and they end up getting the Herald for themselves. So this has been a good phase of play for them. This should help them stabilize, potentially get to the point where they can start firing back and start setting up that range advantage. And also with the Herald being well easily within range to kill that mid lane turret, I imagine that's exactly where that's going to go. TT likely losing that important mid lane outer turret.
Yeah, that makes everything harder. If they have to pivot their Carpus, their Tristana, respecting the lack of mid lane tower, that's already going to slow them down. TT got off to a really, really good start, but they've been losing their footing the last few minutes.
So, looking through onto how Wink, ex-IG member, coming over to EDG in summer, gets himself an important gauge, goes into the front line, has himself an ult, and becomes unkillable for a brief amount of time, in the way that only really Alistair can do in that support role. Both these supports have such an important role within their various teams. Herald is going to be summoned mid. I mean, that's goodbye mid lane turret.
Yeah, but if he is traded on the bot side, UCal got some alone time with the tower and just instantly deleted.
Power of the 6 grubs, power of the Tristana. So, EDG managed to deny that from... I love this.
Bye, Herald.
Wait, can you get into that turret? I don't know if you can. Wait, I mean, that's not going to reach in time shot. He actually does! Hell, he's got his driver's license. I appreciate that.
Yeah, no, he's allowed down at the skate park. The older kids won't bully him.
Oh man, have you seen all of the Herald shenanigans we've had in LPL this year so far?
I've seen some incredible clips,
we've had Herald getaways from Hacker. We've had Herald engages from. Well, wait, do you know Berserk, the manga Berserk? We weirdly have a guy who's called GLFS.
I'm familiar, yes.
Apparently GLFS is meant to be Griffith from the Berserk manga. That's where his name comes from. Anyway, use the jungler for IG. In case you ever run into that player anywhere at some point. Anyway, he used the Herald to basically be an engaging and chasing tool. He used it to kind of get the knock up, the extra damage, and get into range of enemies. So we've had, you know, pick your poison, you know, tag yourself, I'm getaway Herald, pick yourself, I'm like tank Herald. We've used it for some weird stuff.
So, I mean, look, the ultimate is going to be you pick your Yasuo for your mid laner and use your Rift Herald to set up the ult.
That is, I'm yet to see that. Okay, I might have seen, okay, because there are so many of those, you know, the short form content, your TikToks or YouTube shorts of like Chinese League where they do like the
Chinese
impossible
TikToks,
combos, which is insane. I'm yet to see that, but I would love to. I think that would be such an entertaining way to do it. But then you have to get the Herald, and that's a bit of a problem. But I mean, I want to see it.
You just play Gragas jungle, he's AP. And if you don't get the Herald, it's still Gragas Yasuo, right?
Look, I'll believe when I see it. Gragas jungle, of course, oh God, he was such a mainstay for such a long time. He's kind of fallen away for the last little while now in favor of course, the long-range carry junglers. We've seen a lot of trading of these outer turrets. We've seen almost every outer turret go down, except that pesky mid lane outer turret from the side of EDG. UCal gets a lot of the gold, though. Cashes in the coal, gets both side lane outer turrets, gets a load of gold off of that. Now we need to see if Mr. Carry in the mid lane for TT can once again see his team through to success. I think a lot of it's on him with the gold he's been given now.
Yeah, he has to play incredibly safely as well. As the second he jumps forward and doesn't get a fairly immediate reset, he's just going to get that Zyra ult put under him. And if that happens, I think he just dies in a global. And that's going to be a huge issue. It's a bit of a skill test.
Yeah, no, think about it again. The ease of execution is, it's an important team for teams which are struggling, right? I mean, you've got, you know, UCal that needs to find space. Feather is the only person who can really engage reliably, and even then, he kind of needs to have flash. I think 1xN can follow up well, but the angles for TT are quite slim. I think that's one of the reasons why they've been playing around towers instead of champions. It's quite hard for them to find those moments. They do have everything available right now, though, and it's post 20 minutes. And you have a Karthus. You can very much look for that one explosive fight into the Baron. Oh, by the way, we didn't see the 20-minute Baron rush for the Zyra. We've seen a couple of them in the LPL so far on the other side. The next big fight is probably going to determine the game, because you can just kill Baron so quickly, and Hoya's getting caught.
Yeah, he has been caught out. Skarnerot coming in. JJ there to support with damage. Tries to use the all-out to get away, but can't get a wall. Dashing over to the plant. He's so low. He's at this point, it is just buying time. Skarner dashing forward. Has to try and get past the tower. Will not be able to. Solo kill. Picking up that one.
So, that's going to be vision control from TT, but not a Baron start. And I think that's quite telling. Even with the 4v3 on the top side, TT don't feel like they can force a cross map. And EDG, and particularly JJ, just much more decisive. And now we're waiting to see if Hoya can respawn. EDG are just going to get that vision back that they already lost. I'm kind of sad that TT couldn't do anything around topside there, honestly.
Yeah, I think they had to look for something, but it was just good positioning and good vision out of EDG that prevented it. And now this is becoming a problem because you've used your Tristana pick, you've played into it, but your Cassante is just not really working out at the moment.
It's going to be quite hard to reach the champions like the Zyra, the Corkin, the Zeri consistently too. Oh, maybe this is why... Oh, hang on. Did we... that was off screen. We got that in the picture-in-picture. I was thinking, well, why couldn't they play around topside? It doesn't help that, you know, Beitron gets his flash blown there, but JJ was in picture, so I'd imagine that's a little bit after the initial play was made. Dragon spawning in a minute now as well. So we have Baron, we have Dragon, and Leave is going to just hop over the wall. He's playing ballsy, but I can appreciate that. He's getting some good damage back as well. See if we can have a strong team fight in the next one. 2 huge objectives coming up. It wouldn't be Soul Point, but it is just an objective and a reason to fight, hopefully, for one of these teams to blow open the game.
Yeah, it's going to come down to the decisive team fights, as it so often does. Leave chunked out 20 seconds before Dragon, so that's plenty of time to just quickly go back to base and heal himself back up. Cryan has TP'd down as well, so EDG is committed to this play.
No, this is, again, return to that question about objective setup. The range advantage is so much in favor of those Corky Rockets. He does have good item spikes, and then, of course, the Zyra plants as well. The poke is starting to get layered up onto TT. They need to find an engage, but they need to find a good engage, and that's going to be a problem.
Yeah, they're just getting chunked down more and more. Beishwan already just above half health. Hoya has lost a chunk as well.
They're just going to rush Baron. They
TT
say, look, we're
are
getting
just
poked.
running at Baron.
We're getting poked out. May as well just go topside. And now EDG, they're going to leave some members down towards bot side. They're not taking Dragon. They've left that as well. And it's just going to be a bit of a reset.
Solo kill is on the Dragon, though. So they are going to get this. It's not going to be super quick, but TT, they need to make a decision. You either have to find an engage or you have to hit Baron.
It's got to be one of the two. Jukal's even jumping at the Baron, using the flicker base to get that cooldown back. This is probably where the game is going to get decided. Solo kill TP again.
Feather has been engaged on. Wink using that. The Baron is secured. Solo kill on the side. Spotted out with that blue trinket. Bleed moving forward. Pops his aerial. Lightning crashing down. Move forward. It's not bad. Only one man in the Skarner ult. Hoya will get cleaned up. Feather with a lovely Magnet Storm moving forward. Where's Yucal? As everyone is falling away. Requiem has to be used, but it's not going to get much of anything. Just some Dark Harvest stacks. And they have to just retreat. 2 Baron buffs escape.
And TT, they have been run around the map by EDG. EDG much more confident about starting up the Dragon and then contesting the Baron afterwards. They don't take the Dragon in the first bit. They're definitely going to get it now. And the Baron power play is already negative for Thunder Talk Gaming. You can see how difficult it is for them to land a big engage. EDG going to walk away with the Dragon, even if they don't get that Baron. See that? Sadly, I think Feather needs to do a lot more at the start of this fight if they want to look for an engage. They kind of don't quite make a decision between turning and burning. They get caught in the retreat, leave with the ult running. Of course, very, very strong at running people down and gets enough people pinned in front of him to take away a couple of kills. By the time Feather's engage comes through, the damage is done.
Yeah, and also Beige just not able to leverage the Karthus at all. I think he maybe hit 1 or 2 Skittles and obviously the Requiem after his death, but he wasn't really getting any time actually ticking anyone with the E.
So, TT, they do still have 2 Baron buffs, and that does allow Tristana to go onto a side lane and push in if they want. They can also Baron up the mid wave. If they can get mid lane out of turret, this game does get easier for TT. I'm definitely going to say that, but they still need to be able to get that one through the Corki and the Zeri wave clear, through Zyra as well, who can outrange you. EDG, they seem to be defending mid lane completely fine, even against the Baron up waves.
Yeah, for now, and again, this comes down to Yucal has not been able to get near to towers. He's in the side lane at the moment, but he's very far from actually being able to hit anything. And EDG has people in range to go and answer him. Just not being able to leverage the power of this pick.
So, TT, still no flash on Feather. Use it around that Baron. Going to be a little while until that one comes back up. And we've talked how important that is. Because if Feather can't find the engage, you can, realistically. Maybe Hoya can get a flank, but Hoya, we've said he's had a bit of a rough game. He's also against the Skarner, which just feels like, weirdly, a better version of Cassandre right now. We thought it couldn't be done. TT, it is hard to play through this game. And reminder, if they lose a single game, they are locked out of any chance of the upper group in the next round. This is so important to them.
Yeah, exactly. They have to find the comeback here. It's a best of 3, but it's sort of a best of 1 from TT's perspective. Because things matter so much less if they do not find the comeback in this game 1.
Man, with the full Baron buff, they can't even take half the HP in the mid lane tower. EDG they've done a fantastic job with Cryan's laning phase. JJ hovering around mid for a lot of the game too, just keeping this turret topped up and completely untouched for the entirety of this game so far. And you can see how hard it is to push into the enemy jungle to get good damage on towers. TT, they get the Baron, but they lose kills for it. They lose the Dragon for it as well. That could have been a game-changing objective for them if they could break open different parts of the map. They've just not been able to do that. And I think EDG, that's credit to their discipline. They've been quite hard to get a good engage onto. Feather again, still no flash. We'll need to really wait until that's back up. I think that's such an important go button.
Yeah, it is. And someone I also want to give their flowers is Wink. He's been an absolute menace on this Alistair so far, just sort of showing Feather how it's done. They're playing such similar champions. He's been constantly on the front line. Of course, it helps that you press R and you become invincible for a little while, but he's just been incredibly cutthroat, just going in at the drop of a hat, and he's sort of, so far, probably been my MVP for EDG.
I can't believe you'd say give someone their flowers and not talk about Zyra. Something feels wrong about that. Just,
a little bit.
Oh yeah, it's the cow, not the flower in the jungle.
Okay, give someone their milk, sure.
We'll take that one for now. I started learning some flower fun facts for Zyra games in case things got particularly boring. I now know that bamboo grows at 1.5 inches an hour. It is the fastest growing plant in the world.
Really quick.
That's something which I didn't know before. What else did I know? You can change the color of a hydrangea by the acidity of the soil as well. What have you got for me? Tell me more. I need to know more.
Did you know that banana trees walk?
What? No?
Yeah, if you film a banana field for like an entire year, they'll move like a couple meters side to side.
Oh, that's so cool. That is okay. That is going in my fun fact list. That's going on there somewhere. As we wait for the next big engage. The problem is, next big engage might come out before the poke comes through.
Yeah, Hoya again in trouble, chunked really low. Another rocket thuds into him as well. TT just can't play on the map.
Just look at the damage that Cryon and JJ are putting out. The Muramana build, I mean, it was actually Yulway that was asking in chat earlier, and I didn't answer the question clearly because I was sat there thinking, I don't know why this either. Look, we've seen a lot of different Corki builds, and I don't know why they've all changed so much. We somehow got the Muramana build back, even though we saw a load of Infedge before. Basically, Chovy started playing this and made it look really broken again. When you have the Muramana on the Corki rockets, you start to get a lot more damage on them because the Muramana procs, and it gives you really good poke. Now when you have big Zeri Ws, Corki rockets, the plants as well, EDG's poke and the way to play this game slowly becomes so much easier to play.
Yeah, I mean, they're just ahead on every sort of facet. It's hard to talk about how TT can come back in. Feather getting spotted out and chunked again. Just not seeing much life out of TT at this point.
They need to find that one big engage, but it's so hard when you only have the one big engage tool. How can they do that? They did spot a reset. Leaf's not hit. This would be the time if they could know if he'd reset. I don't think they spotted it out. They end up blowing the seeds on the Baron from Zyra. That's important. Stops your clear speed incredibly much. And now Patron's caught out.
Patron chunked out again. Just every bit of damage on this Carpus really matters. It's just less time that he can sit in the middle of your team and just hit them with the E. You count down on the bot side as well. I mean, they can't engage if it's Tristana's not close.
Patron, no flash.
Again, solo kill coming in, moves forward, gets the ult down, just pulls Feather back. The Zyra ult doing a lovely bit of zoning as well. Requiem is coming out, but it's nowhere near enough. Only one kill back, and TT have been routed.
TT lose this game over a red buff. UCal takes the buff on the bot side of the map. Batron doesn't play safely enough. And the whole team, except for UCal, will hit the floor. TT, they've really struggled around the big objective. Look, he will die, folks. He's tanky, but he's not that tanky. And it feels like EDG, they bided their time. They waited for the mistake, and the mistake was presented to them. They're going to get themselves that Baron. And probably look to just push the kill button, really, on this game.
Yeah, look, they don't want to play this any further. TT does move up to Soul Point, but EDG are going to look to make that irrelevant. Maybe if TT can hold out.
Well, that's the problem. They couldn't find themselves a good engage even with all of their tools available to them. They've been trying to hold out, but how do you play slow against this range advantage? They get forced into an awkward position. Batron's positioning without the flash left a lot to be decided. I think 1xN realizes, look, I gotta try and do something. Gets one kill, but I mean, you're going into a Zeri with so much power, and now EDG, it feels like this should now be a bit of a cakewalk to end out this game. Yeah,
you've got to think so. TT, as I said, I think their one chance is you hold out for the length of this Baron buff and then maybe you can get a Chemtech Soul, but even then, it's a Chemtech Soul with a comp that doesn't really want it.
That's a good point, yeah. I mean, wait, does anyone know whether Chemtech affects Karthus and passive? I think it does. So, Beitron might be able to use the extra damage from that one. Oh, what a UCal, buddy! That's a skill check.
You can't,
Zeri's scary. Zeri is really scary. Leave. Kind of the prodigal son of EDG, was meant to be the next coming of the AD carry of the LPL. Didn't quite manage to live up to that standard. Well, definitely didn't manage to live up to that within 2023. But this Zerian in this game, and in summer so far, he's starting to really ramp up to what we expected from it. Hoya?
I mean, this is, yeah, okay, fair enough. Just go for a fight while the Zeri ult's on cooldown. I actually like this a lot from TT. It's not necessarily working out, as Feather's in a lot of trouble. UCal zoned out as well. Hoya going low, Hoya going down. UCal, you need to access the fight. You need to go in even if you die, my son. Down goes Beishwan, I should say. Oh my word. Look, I respect the attempt, but it hasn't worked out.
They try and look for a miracle, and they find a Rhyalized plant in front of them, which completely zones out the two teleporters. The Zyra, Zhonya's, the Rhyalized. JJ runs that late game fight. EDG have run the late game altogether as they walk towards the Nexus. 1xN.
1xN doing what he has to do, not a KDA player, as he takes out JJ. Potentially giving his team a chance. Barrier stops the Corky Rocket, but he goes down regardless. Now, UCal and Feather with the base defense. I think that keeps the game going.
I think it does too. All right, okay, fair play. I thought that was going to be a one-man, one-way trip. And it does end up being that for 1xN, but it doesn't end up being the game dead. So TT, they will survive through that last disastrous fight. We're going to go back to a replay of this big thing. JJ plays this out so well. He has that zone. You see, immediately puts down plants, gets the slow onto UCal, manages to get himself a flash out too. UCal can't play because JJ deals with him. And if UCal's not doing that, then you said it midway through the fight, UCal has to go in. How can he in this situation? JJ massively outplays him, and the rest of the team falls apart.
Yeah, just no access to the fight from someone who got so much early gold put into him. Masterful stuff out of JJ and the rest of EDG, but heroics from 1xN means that we still have a game on our hands.
So, what's next up on the table? Little while until objectives come up. Big items everywhere. Yeah, there's 4 items on UCal. He can do some good damage if he can get into the damn fight. He doesn't have a Lord Dominic's regards either to chunk through solo kill. Even Wink is going to be very, very hard to deal with on plot. I say even Wink. Alistair is always going to be quite difficult to deal with once he has his ultim, so I think that's completely worth bringing up. So what does TT do? I mean, they are definitely backs against the wall. EDG have the range advantage, they have the item advantage, they have a near enough, what, 7,000 gold lead or thereabouts? And it feels like TT, they're again just waiting on that killer engage. At least Feather has that flash we've talked about. Can he land a big clumped up engage?
I don't think they want to engage before Carthus has his Ravenants. He's got both of the rods, but if he can get that combined, it is a huge damage spike, and maybe that's enough to actually play into an EDG that sort of has already built those luxury items, already has more of Malmortius on at least leave.
Yeah, that's a good call out. Will they get the choice to survive that long is my question.
As that's a good question.
So I'm just sort of like, yeah, that's a great idea. Wait until Carthus had items. Let's see if they can manage that one. I mean, the objectives are coming up to EDG. There's no reason why they have to force a fight right now.
He doesn't have it. I'm looking at the wrong player. Ignore me. Does not have it. It's crying. Gets chunked a little bit. TT continues to survive. They will get a little bit of a reprise because EDG will presumably go take that dragon in about 15 seconds.
And there's the death cap. All right, so we have it. All right, they survived through to it. I thought they might not have the choice. Double death cap built up for TT. One of the bonuses here for Thundertalk is the fact that Leave can't really... Well, no, I was about to say he can't get that much stronger. To 1xN, he has that second W up. I was wondering if he'd go for the assassination. He could technically get Zephyr. In fact, he can very much get Zephyr in late game. I completely forget that item exists even now, but...
Yeah, I know, right?
You're getting to the point where 1xN will at least have more gold to earn than Leave can spend, because he can't spend anything more. So, you know, that's a thing. 1xN can very much be an assassin, and also he can be a poke bot too. Maybe, with a couple of Kaiser Ws, they could chunk out someone important. It's a hard ask, but... maybe that's what they have to look towards. Solo kill, walking towards 1xN. Might have to use that supercharge to get out.
Yeah, flash forward, and the ult actually hits him. He holds his flash, but he really shouldn't have. The barriers used, the ultimate's used, and 1xN falls.
Oh, well, solo kill, I mean, solo kill by just ended the game with that. 1xN, what are you doing? You had to pull that flash, and now EDG have the 5v4 on the Nexus.
Solo kill moving forward again. Hoya has to use that W to get away. A lovely E there into the ult from JJ as EDG looking to end the game. The towers are getting chunked down. One of them falls. Cryan takes a little bit of damage on the other side. A foot back onto Wink, but it's only the Alistair. Good engage out of Feather. Can UCal find the damage? He's desperately trying. Going low, the first kill onto JJ. UCal can go huge here. Moving forward, Requiem to back him up as well. Gets a second. The Carthus gets the third. Solo kill low as well. And TT survive another day.
Somehow, but they're even teleporting. They're going to teleport straight in through top lane. 50-second death timers from 0 to 100. I think they can try it with 6 grubs. You're absolutely right.
They have to do this is the best thing you can try. I don't know if this gets there, but you weren't winning any other way. Just run it down, my boys.
I mean, they're trying to stop the recall from solo kill, so he can't wave clear. They're trying to go Nexus to Nexus.
20 seconds. Inhib's already starting to fall. You have a Tristana. I think they might make this, Nymaera.
With the Flicker Blades, he's trying to hit other targets to get the cooldowns back. Solo kill back at the base. Has ult to get a little bit of CC. They're going for it.
They're going for it. One tower's already for him. There's an ult. Pull the Tristana away. 5 seconds on JJ. I don't think you want to be spending time on solo kill right now, but they do anyway. Nexus is exposed. Tristana is here. Needs to find the angle. JJ flashing forward. Does knock up that Tristana. They're holding. The Nexus is going down. Down. TT takes the game!
Thunder Talk, stay alive! It has been a summer split of Nexus to Nexus. What started with 1xN getting caught out and maybe losing the game turns around into a TT victory. This summer split, in case you've missed the other games, we have had Nexus to Nexuses almost every day of the week. It has been an absolutely insane amount of drama, and TT stay alive.
I'm at home, Nymaera. I'm at home in the BCS, baby.
I absolutely cannot believe we have ourselves another Nexus to Nexus, folks. God, thank you so much, Carix, for joining me on the broadcast today, folks. I'm Nymaera. This is Carix. I'll give Carix a shout out in the Twitch chat as well.